Hello guys, welcome to 11 tutorial on how to make a website from scratch. And in this video, I'm going to continue from where we left on the last time, which is we got here, we checked whether the users and password exist. And what we are supposed to do next is to return the ID. Alright, so after we return the ID, we'll store the ID in the browser so that we can open our new page where we can fetch the information and show it to the user based on the user's ID. So how do we fetch the ID? We store the ID in a column called ID inside our database when we're creating our database. So you just, after selecting the password, you just also select ID. But before I continue, please note that I've increased the font size of my brackets file, my brackets text editor. So if you want to increase the font size, just like how I've done, and see things clearly, click on view and click on themes, and you see the font size here, then you change it however you want to change it, then you press on done. Okay, so I changed it so that you guys can see it really well. I'm sorry for not doing that earlier in the previous videos. Okay, so let's get started. So we've already fetched our ID just now, and we are supposed to store our ID in our browser. So where do we store our ID? In the code. Okay, so because we have to store our ID only when the credentials are correct, we are going to write a code here. And how do we store ID? We have something called cookies. Cookies are ways that websites use to store information in the browser. Okay, so we're going to store our ID in the browser. So you just write set cookie. Okay, so it should turn blue when you're typing. It should turn blue if you're working in brackets. So set cookie, then you bring your brackets. Okay, the first bracket, I meant this program called brackets, and this one is the brackets, in case you're confused. Okay, so in set cookie, we need four things inside set cookie. We need the key. Okay, so the key is like, it is a word, a keyword, okay, which is used to fetch the value. It's like it's like this that we did with the post. We use the keywords, email, and password to fetch the value of what the user will type. That is the same way we need a key. Okay, so the key is a string, so it needs double quotation marks, and you pass in the key. Our key is ID. You can give it any name you want as a key, as long as you use the key to fetch the corresponding value anytime you are on a browser in the website. Okay, so after you get your key, you bring a comma, then you bring your value. So this is the value that we fetched. Okay, so how do we get this ID? It's the same way we got the password. You bring a variable pass, then you pass in the ID. After that, we need the third thing, which is called the expiration. When should this cookie expire from the browser? How long should it stay on the browser? So we want our cookie to stay on the browser as long as the browser hasn't been closed yet. So you type 0. So 0 tells us that if the browser hasn't been closed, it should be available to us. So after you've done this, the last thing we need is, where should this cookie be available? Which files should be able to access this cookie? Is also a string. So you bring your string, then you bring a backslash. This backslash tells the browser that all files in our domain inventschooltest.dev should be able to get this cookie by this key. So now we've set our cookie. We are done setting our cookie. Then we need something called a session. Okay, so cookies store data. Okay, sessions are like variables which exist once the browser is open. Okay, so this variable will help us know that the browser is actually open and the browser hasn't been closed. So we need a variable for that. So before we can work with session, we need to type the keyword session start. Okay, then after you start the session, we need to get our variable. Okay, so how do we create a new session variable? You bring your dollar, you bring your underscore, you bring your post, and you type in the name of the variable, which will be maybe a user. Okay, then you pass in a value. We are going to make it an empty string. Okay, then you close it with a semicolon. Okay, so once this session user is available, okay, it tells us that the user hasn't yet closed his browser yet. If the user closes his browser and opens this web page again, there will be no session called user. That means there will be no session at all. And we'll be able to open the sign-in page for the user to sign in again. All right. So now we are done with this stage. Okay, we have stored it in our browser. So we are supposed to go to our web map, and it says that we should go to students if it's a student, and go to a teacher if it's a student, if it's a teacher, sorry. So how do we know that the person who is signing is a teacher or a student? That is why I brought something called type when I was creating the table. So I made it such that S is for a teacher, S is for a student, and T is for a teacher. So after you fetch the ID, we also fetch the type, right? So we're going to return the type to our JavaScript validate file, so that the JavaScript validate file, after sending the info and getting the response, which is the type, it will open the corresponding page based on the type. So you go back to your validate.php and you echo out, instead of correct credentials, so you're going to echo out the type. Okay, so this is how we echo out things from PDO, that is after database connection, how you get the column value. Okay, so this means that it will return the type to the JavaScript, as I said. So we are going to work with the type here, but before we go, let's save our file now. Okay, sorry, and I made a mistake here. Please, it should be $_session. We are working with sessions now, not posts. So you go to JavaScript, and here you're going to get the type. Okay, so we're going to check if the message is actually S. That means that the type is student. So open the student page. Then if the message is a T, open a teacher page. All right. Then else, that means that it's an error. Else, then you display this error. You should indent your file real well. So what is the student page and what is the teacher page? And mind you that I didn't just write this from my mind. I wrote it based on our web map. Our web map told us to do so. That is what I wrote that. So what is our student page? You've not yet made a page for students. So you just click on Command N to create a new page. Then you type anything in it before you save, otherwise it won't work. So you Command N again. Command S, sorry, to save, or Control S. Then we are going to save it as students.php. And where do we save this student.php file? Inside our domain. And this time we're not going to save it in our PHP folder. Okay, we're going to save it direct in the direct domain. So you click on save, and you create another file. So here you just type students. Alright, then save it. Then create another file, which is teacher. Then you're going to save it at the same place inside our domain. So we save. So we're going to write our JavaScript program to send S to the student's page if it's a student, and to open the teacher's page if it's a teacher. So how do you write this code? It is simple. You just type location.href. Okay, that means hyperreference where it is going, their entire URL. So is equal to, because we're on the same domain, that means you're not going to any other external website. You're just going to type the name students.php. Okay, so it's the same for teacher. So location.href teacher.php. Then you save. So let's test our file now. I told you that whenever you want to refresh, you press on shift and you press on reload. And let me increase the size of this page so that you can see it real well to 200. Good. So as we did the validation earlier, when you don't type anything, your email is required. If you type something, your password is required. If you type this, then the email cannot be found. That means you must provide a correct email. Password is incorrect. And watch this. Once everything is correct, because I am because I am a student, okay, it is going to open the students page. So it's going to open sign in, then you open the students.php. Okay, so let's add another row, and this time it will be a teacher. So insert into, I wrote this and I explained it in one of the videos. So insert into users. Okay, and we are going to insert into the email field, the password field, first name, other name, last name. Okay, and the values that you're going to work with are, the email will be maybe let me use maybe Stanley at marvel.com, and the password will be maybe Avengers. Okay, and the first name will be Stan, and he has no other name, so we just make it empty, and the last name will be Lee. Okay, and we have to also input the type, so we just add the type, and the type is T for teacher. So you bring a comma, then T for teacher, then you run your query, go. So you're gonna, so it opens to them because I was a student. Now let me open it. Let me type Stanley at marvel.com, and the password is Avengers. You open the teacher successfully. So with this we are done with this part of the web map, and we've opened this and this based on who is logging in. So in the next video, I'm gonna move on to what the teacher will see. Okay, so this is all I wanted to show you about the validation. And after validation, what happens? So based on your web map, whatever you're working on, if it's a different website or anything like that, which requires validation, signing in, signing up, everything like that, you have to save a cookie, you have to save a session. I'm going to show you how to fetch that and some security issues which might arise if you don't do some certain things that I'm going to show you in the next video. All right. So please subscribe. It's very important too. And if you don't subscribe, you're going to miss all the other videos. And yeah.